I think it's one of my experience. So I did a short film where I had a director as well. He's trying to figure out how to play out these scenes. And I was hired as a producer. Not really so much creative because I was the only producer and I'm trying to, like, I'm basically doing the logistics for the short film. And my interesting experience with the creative side for my job, at least for this short film, was he was trying to figure things out. And I'm definitely the one person was like, well, we don't have a lot of budget for this, and so we can't really do last minute things. So I would read the script over and over again, and every revision of the script I would read over and over again. And the thing is, why you have a production team at least is one of those, when you're trying to creatively play out the scene as a director or anything like that, I would come in going like, hey, do you need this? Well, in this scene, they need to eat a certain thing. Is there a particular thing that we need to get? And you have to move from one thing to like one place, like one area of a bar to another area. Like, do we need people in there? Do we need extras? Like, I have to know this ahead of time. Like, do we need certain alcohol? Is there certain brands that we're not, sponsored by that I need to make sure the art department knows to get rid of? So I'm there while while my director is coming up with the creative shots and all that. Sometimes we get that one day to look at the location scout or look at the location, but I don't have my art department there because we can't afford it. It's just me and the director. For me as a producer, and even my experience as a production manager, will go and he'll think of shots. I was like, okay, well, do we need to get rid of that flag? Is it a copyright thing? What do you think about that noise? How big is the space? Hey, that area is still functional. Is that okay for sound? Like, I have to ask all these questions for the director in order for me to be prepared for the day of. So we don't have any unexpected surprises. So that's usually my bit, is sometimes you kind of have to think, like when someone comes up with something creative, you have to be the person who thinks logistically.
You're the mood killer.
Yeah, the mood. I'm definitely the mood killer, because then like Art was like, I want to do this and this, and sometimes I'm like, well, here, this is how much we budgeted, and this is what we said. So if you need that additional item that's gonna cost me a certain amount of money, let's think about the scene. Like, do we really need it? I can try to pull that money from somewhere else to pay for it, but we need to really think this out before we decide to just do it, because I had to constantly remind my director, I don't have that much budget. So unless you're okay with the overage, and you got to figure out where to pull that from, and I can try to save money from different areas to pay for it, be prepared that there's going to be an overage that you may have to pay out of pocket because you're funding this film.
Right.
And my thing too is I don't like saying no so much. Like I'm not no, we can't do that. No, we can't do that.
Right.
I like to assess the situation.
You're a solutions person.
Yeah, solution person, where I like to assess the situation. I like to assess what the director just comes at me about. It's like, we need this suddenly. I was like, well, let's think about this. How much does that cost? Okay, that costs this. Is it essential to the scene? Okay, it is. Well, we are given this much budget in this department and this department. So I can definitely do this for you. But either we're going to go over and we have to figure out where the money's coming from, or we need to cut out a scene that's not necessary in order to make time and money for the scene. So it's giving them options, but also giving them forewarning. It's like, we can do that at this cost.
Right.
So then at least then my director or my creative producer can make a creative choice with the options they give, so they don't feel like they're sacrificing a lot. I want to be as transparent and let every department head know what is happening, because I definitely want to make a really good shoot. I want to make sure we get the best that we can, and I want to make sure the vision that my director has, we're fulfilling it. But we got to be smart about it. We can't just say yes to everything, but we can't also say no and shoot ourselves in the foot before we even started, kind of thing. You know?
No, it's all great. You're preaching to the choir over here.
I had directors like, oh, we don't have enough budget, I'm gonna cut the scene. I was like, wait, we didn't even talk to the DP yet. We didn't even talk about how this is gonna, and you're already shooting yourself in the foot by saying like, we're getting rid of this before we even assess the situation.
Directors, okay, I guess we can talk about directors a little bit. But I'm curious because directors like to try to help make things easier for everybody else too. It's like a place where they're coming from. It's like I'm just gonna cut it down because I know it's gonna save us time on this one day, and then really, because that's not really their job, so they're actually missing a huge point where
Yeah.
you're not really saving us much time.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. So
My last short film I did with a director and my DP too. I remember coming to them. They're like, oh, "Should we cut this because to save time?" And I remember telling them, "I was like, okay, stop what you're doing and let me know what you need, because you hired me for this reason. I will help you think of the logistics. You know, I can't think for you. I can't read your mind. I just need you to communicate with me what to do, because then I can help you I can help come up with a solution that makes you happy creatively, but logistically it works out for us, you know? So I have to stop director sometimes. Like, I know you're trying to help, but the best thing you can do to help me is communicate with me and be cooperative. When we say we're short on budget and we may have to think of another solution, I want you to be open-minded about that and see what we can do together. You know, I can't. It's not like I can't, but it definitely makes production more difficult when I have creative people say, "No, I definitely need this," without hearing me out, like creatively and logistically and budget-wise. Can we even do that? Because you know, it's gonna be a nightmare once we wrap. It's gonna be a nightmare for us to deal with that.
yeah.
But at the same time, I also want my director to know, it's like, I need you to be able to not feel restricted in your creative choices, but just know, like, I feel like nothing's impossible, but everything has a cost or a consequence to it. So if we do certain things, just be aware that this might happen, or we might have to end up giving up something else.
Right,
And
right.
what I like to tell my director is, like, I'm not telling you to choose one or the other. I want you to figure out in your creative storyline what is more important, and then we'll prioritize that, you know? And hopefully that will get them to think about their script more and think about their storyline and really, really understand what they need.